More than 5 billion people are on social media, close to 2/3 of the entire world's population, and every single one of them is reachable by your church for free. Here's the problem. Most churches are on social media without a clear understanding of why they're on social media. They're posting just because everyone else is, and that is a recipe for burnout, frustration, and irrelevance. So today, I'm giving you 7 rules that should govern your church's social media efforts, a complete policy that you can use to shape your strategy, not just today, but for years to come. I've also put together a free cheat sheet with all 7 rules that you can download right now. It is linked in the description. Oh, and let me interrupt for a second here. If you go through this video, realize that you would like more assistance, we'd love to give your church a free social media audit. Just go to auditmychurch.com. Rule number 1, and this is foundational. All efforts are informed by Christ. What is the biblical reason to be on social media in the first place? Because embracing the Great Commission means taking the good news to the people. And in the scope of human history, we have never seen anything like social media in terms of attention and scale. Social platforms have done the heavy lifting of gathering the majority of the world in one place, including your local community. They have granted us access to those people to share the good news, and they give us this access for free. That kind of large-scale distribution is truly unprecedented in human history. Rule number 2, stop the scroll. A pastor shared this DM with me, a message that they received from someone. It reads this, quote, "Hey pastor, I was scrolling through Facebook and came across a clip of your sermon that grabbed my attention. On my lunch break, I listened to your entire message. It convicted me. I have been hot and cold in my walk with Jesus, but I know what I have to do now," end quote. So how does that testimony begin? I was scrolling and it grabbed my attention. Attention is the most valuable commodity that we can possess as churches. Why? Because without it, it doesn't matter how great our message is, no one will hear it. And what is the mechanism for earning attention on social? We have to compel a person to stop scrolling. That is the behavior that we need to intercept, because that's how everyone uses social, right? We open our phones, we flick, we scroll. Your content needs to interrupt that pattern. So how do we stop the scroll? Well, that leads to rule number 3, identify intersections of faith and culture. When Jesus spoke, he used ideas accessible to the average person as entry points to talk about the kingdom. Agriculture, farming, baking, economics, wine, sheep even. The idea was simple. Where can the good news cross paths with the lived experiences of the person that you are trying to reach? The wisdom of Scripture is for all people, for all time. So it's our job to find the intersections between faith and culture and make those the entry points to our content. What are some examples? Finances, parenting, marriage, hope, purpose, loneliness, anxiety, fear, forgiveness, shame, justice. Each of these is accessible and meaningful to anyone, regardless of faith background. And each of these is something that Scripture speaks to in abundance. That is the intersection. And practically speaking, this matters most in the hook of your post. And I want you to think of the hook like a newspaper headline. It grabs attention and it makes a promise. Consider this hook from a church's sermon reel. The number 1 job of a parent. That hook shows up in the first 3 seconds. Someone is scrolling, sees it, and stops. Why? Because it's making a compelling promise. Give us your attention and we'll share our belief on the most critical job of any parent. And then what follows is wisdom from Scripture. Rule number 4, no weeks off. Every church that I have seen affecting real life change online has one thing in common. They consistently make great content for their community. Social media is a long game, and there's really only one key to success. Post content that is valuable to your church and the greater world for the next decade. You don't have to post every day, though. You do need to show up every week and publish. Adam Siri, the head of Instagram, said this when asked, what happens when you take breaks?
It is true, and we're trying to make it not so, that if you don't post for a month or 2, coming back in can be rough, and that is not intentional. That is a byproduct of the fact that we have less data after you've been gone for a month or 2, and we're trying to address that.
So here's what you need to understand then about algorithms. They distribute content based on signals, your past activity, the subject matter of the post, whether you've interacted with an account before. If you're not posting regularly, the algorithm does not have data on you. It doesn't know who might benefit from your content. You're basically handing in a blank resume. No weeks off is the singular non-negotiable of social media. Find a sustainable pace for your church and stick to it indefinitely. And by the way, if you're finding this helpful, I've got a cheat sheet, again, with all 7 of these rules laid out for you. It's free. It's in the description. Make sure to grab it and share it with your team. There's no opt-in. Just click the button, download it. And this is also all an excerpt from our certification program for churches, Pro Church Certified, that teaches every core creative discipline needed in church. One of our students that completed his certification recently said that it was, quote, on the same level as the online graduate courses that I've taken. The only difference? No schools teach this kind of thing, which is why so many people try to figure it out on their own. Stop figuring it out alone. Start following a proven system. That's what Pro Church Certified is for. ProChurchCertified.com is where you can learn more. Okay, on to rule number 5, the principle of congruency. Your online presence should be a reflection of your in-person experience. If a big chunk of your Sunday service is dedicated to the sermon, like virtually every church, then there should be sermon-related content on your social pages. Sometimes pastors will push back on this, meaning well. They'll say, I don't want to publish sermon clips. It feels like I'm putting myself on a platform. I don't want to be one of those pastors. To which I will ask, are you not on a literal platform when you preach on Sunday? When you do that, are you making it all about you? The principle of congruency is also there to help you identify content ideas. For example, if you have a missional emphasis on groups in your church, how can you represent that on social? If your church values community, how can you show that online? It applies to tone as well. I've challenged churches on this before. I'll say, when I attend your service, it's fun. You don't take yourself too seriously, but your social presence is stuffy, dry. Another angle on this. If you're not demographically diverse, don't present yourself that way. If you are a larger church, don't present yourself as smaller, and vice versa. The last thing that you want is someone to visit after checking you out online and then discover something completely different from what they expected. That's how you basically destroy trust instantly. Rule number 6, social is a springboard. Let's go back to that DM that we shared earlier. A person watches a sermon clip on Facebook. An invitation at the end points them to the full message. They watch it on their lunch break. And ultimately, it leads them to recommit their life to Christ and reach out to the pastor for pastoral care. That is the perfect example of social as a springboard. The work of the church is incarnational. The deepest forms of discipleship happen around the table, rubbing shoulders with real people. Not online. So let's be clear. Social media does not fulfill the ultimate objective of our churches. It is just the springboard for those objectives. When you tout the benefits of social, sometimes people will say in response, well, social can't replace in-person gatherings. I say, yeah, I agree with that. Yes, very much so. I'd also say this. What we do online cannot be replaced by what we do in person. Your week has 168 hours. For most churches, about one of those is dedicated to an in-person service. That leaves 167 hours where you won't be meeting in person, but you can still connect with people online. Online and offline ministry are not adversaries. They're complementary. And social is the springboard that connects the two. Finally, rule number 7, repeat the best. Forget the rest. Continue to test. I'm going to share with you now a social media secret nobody wants to tell you. None of us know what we're doing. You can talk to anyone you admire online, and what they'll tell you is that there were posts that they were excited about that fell flat unexpectedly. Inversely, they'll tell you that sometimes their most popular content was stuff they thought was mediocre. So when you stumble upon a post type that resonates, use it again. Study your analytics, double down on what works, let go of what doesn't, and never stop experimenting. Repeat the best, forget the rest, continue to test. There you have it, 7 rules for your church social media policy. Grab the free cheat sheet in the description so you have it all in one place, share it with your team, and start building a social media presence that actually moves the needle for your church. The great thing about this policy, it doesn't change. It's been true for years. It'll continue to be true for years to come. But what about what's trending on social media right now? Well, that is the next video that you should watch, my video dedicated to social media trends for 2026. It's linked on the screen. Check it out. You're still here? What are you doing? The video's over. Okay, look, auditmychurch.com. Happy to give you some personalized advice with a free social media audit for your church.